and welcome to episode number 27 of the Knitting Teaspoon podcast. I am Liesbeth, your host, and this is a podcast which is all about knitting, sewing, and all the other crafts that I occasionally do as well. I am coming to you from Eindhoven, which is in the southeast of the Netherlands, where I live with my boyfriend and our pet gerbils. And thank you so much for joining me today. It really means a lot that you take some time out of your day to spend it with me, especially since some of you guys may have been following me for as long as half a year now. So that's quite an achievement, I think. When I started, I just didn't know what I was starting with, and now I'm here and I'm still doing this and I'm still enjoying it. So let's get into the regular episode, I guess. So today I am wearing a Rosa shirt dress, which is a pattern by Tilly and the Buttons. It looks very similar to a shirt that I've made because it's out of the same fabric, although I ordered it at two different times. But it's basically the same fabric, but this one has inner color in another color. So there is a difference, and of course the one is dress and the other is a shirt, so I can see the difference, but you guys won't be able to see because you probably can't see anywhere below here-ish. I don't know. Anyway, I like this pattern a lot, and I like all of the patterns by Tilly that I've tried so far. But let's get into things that I've been doing more recently, because I think I made this dress somewhere in May this year. And I've been doing quite a lot this week. First of all, I would like to get into a project that I've been working on last week. I had kind of hoped that I would have this finished by now, but that didn't happen. It is a knitting project which lives in one of my Japanese knot bags, bag like this, and you will probably see it poking out of the bag already by now. And this is a summer top that I'm knitting, and I feel a little bad as a podcaster that I'm constantly working on projects that don't have a pattern, so you can't go around and just check out the pattern anywhere else. So that might be a little difficult for you viewers, but I just like to go off the road and design my own patterns. So I'm working on this top, and I think this week it's a little bit clearer that it is a top, a sleeveless top. So here it is. This is the front side that I'm showing you now, and there's this little lace panel on the back, and I thought I saw last week that you could kind of see it, especially if it's a little bit stretched out. You will kind of be able to see my face. Maybe it's even better if I just move myself out of the way, then you might be able to see a little bit of the white wall behind me here. So hopefully this way you can see it a little bit better. But yeah, that lace detail isn't there. I was just past a point where I joined the sleeves in a round, and now I'm just knitting stockinette all the way down. And last week I was just past the joining point, and well, there have been a few inches of work, or centimeters rather, because I'm Dutch. We use SE units, so SI, I guess. We pronounce letters differently here as well. So yay, there you go. Summer top, and it's, well, I think halfway done now, or the body is. So quite happy with that. But in the evening hours, I've been doing quite a few different projects this week. So one of them is not knitting, but I had been working on it last week as well, and it is spinning. So I finished the braid of merino fiber, and here it is. Here's the end. So the end still looks a little bit floofy, as spinning fiber tends to do, but all the rest of it is spun up on this bobbin, and I think it pretty this way because, well, there's a lot of more vibrant pinks going on the outside here, but there are some more muted brown, grayish colors in the braid as well, or were in the braid, and now they're in the single ply. And now I only have one more braid of fiber left to spin before I can finish all the yarn from Spin Spool and start knitting with it, because I like to have all my yarn ready and plied before I start knitting with it, because I don't feel like it's a good idea to already start knitting with a bit that I already have and then hope that I will have enough in the end later, even though I think I already have over 800 meters of yarn, so around 850 or 800, maybe close to 900 yards, because I managed to make it minor fingering weight yarn apparently. So yeah, that's probably also why it's taking me so long to spin this. For those of you who don't know, I have a spinning wheel, and probably from the bobbin you can already tell that this is not your common modern style bobbin. This is, well, a very old one. I must say that I think my spinning wheel was made somewhere in the 1960s, or at least that's when my grandma bought it, because my dad can remember going to the shop where they bought it as a child. So he must have been born, which was in the early 1960s. So yeah, that probably makes it somewhere late 1960s when it was bought. Yeah, and I haven't got a clue what the name of the shop is, because my dad can't remember, and my grandma can't either. I don't think this shop still exists, so who knows. But yeah, it's a really traditional style of spinning wheel, and I believe there's an episode where I'm like holding it up to show you guys, so if you just look at all the screenshots, I think you will already see it if you're interested. Yeah, but I'm really happy with this yarn, and I'm going to ply it together with the BFL braid that I have behind me, and once it's spun up, of course, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to have the yarn finished. Now there is another knitting project that I finally picked up again this week, and so this week I've also been working on the blanket again. The blanket is back, and for those of you who don't know or need a refreshment of memory about my blanket, I will pop in a picture here. I have been working on this blanket well for over a year now. So before I started this podcast, I was already working on this sock yarn blanket, and I think from the beginning until a few weeks ago I was working on the blanket almost every week, and I think that sock yarn blankets, they are just things that, well, seem to take forever when you're knitting on them. So I thought, even though it's just a minor bit of progress every time, I still want to share it, because I want to encourage everyone out there who's also knitting on a sock yarn blanket to, well, just keep on doing the good stuff and putting in a little bit of extra effort each time, and yeah, that's the only way that it's going to get finished eventually. So if you want it finished, then every tiny bit of progress counts. So yeah, so here it is, and I find myself already making a stitch here. So I'm a continental knitter, as you can see, and I do some weird stuff with my fingers to tension it. I kind of seem to move my hand a bit like this. Apparently, I don't know. So yeah, very exciting. So this is tiny log cabin square thing, and the border of my blanket is made up out of log cabin squares, and then the inside is mitered square things, as you will see in many cozy memories blankets, or whatever they are called, from many podcasters out there. But apart from the knitting, I have also been doing some sewing again this week. I do have a little more knitting to tell you, but first want to talk about the bag because one of the projects that I've been working on lives in one of my new bags that I made this week. So this week I wanted to try and see if I could make a slightly more simple designed bag for my shop, and well, I thought I could just make an easy bag, well, somewhat like this one here actually, and yeah, this one I think turned out kind of okay, but I do have a little bit of a problem with the zipper. I don't know how to install it properly. I don't like this bit here. It's like I don't have enough fabric to go around the zipper, so it pulls in on itself. I don't think this looks very neat, so yeah, this one's not going to be for sale, but I like it anyway. And you can see my little logo, which is on here, because I've also been putting a logo on, because well, if I had wanted to put it in the shop, I should have put in the logo before I got to the point where I realized that this design wasn't going to work the way that I wanted it to. So instead I just made the bag like this. And I want to show you the inside, but on the inside there is a project. So there's this fabric on the inside. I think these colors all go very well together. Like if you look at it like this, you can probably see all of the 3 different fabrics that I've used for the bag. And yeah, I really like how they go together. They are all cotton fabrics, I think, like medium weight cotton, probably suitable for quilting, made by a brand called Dapper, which is the Dutch translation of brave. Yeah, and you will see the name spelled out below here, because we pronounce things a little different from English. But inside bag is a new project that I've been working on this week, and it's made out of Jamieson of Shetland Spindrift, and it's this little fun project. And this little fun project, it has everything to do with the fact that I dropped my phone 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know. Recently, anyway. So I dropped my phone, and yeah, it had a big burst in the screen, and I wanted to replace it. There were some other issues with my phone, but once the screen was broken, I thought now's the time to replace it. But I thought, now that I have a new phone since last week, let's make some fun cover for it that will protect it a little bit more when it falls down. So I just picked up the 4 colors that I still had from Jamieson Spindrift, Jamieson of Shetland Spindrift, and yeah, I just started improvising a little pattern. So this is not a pattern that exists already, but yeah, just some stranded color work. And I really like what it's looking like so far. I haven't got a clue how it's going to end, because it's not a design, I'm not following a pattern. I might write down the chart so that if anyone else would want to make a phone cover like this, then you could, because I think it looks quite fun, but then I also think it looks a little over the top, maybe, who knows. But yeah, just trying all the different kind of styles, and hopefully I will have a fun cover. And if I get fed up with it, I don't have to use it. If I don't want to, then I can easily knit me another one. But the reason I wanted to make it color work is because color work tends to, well, you create this double layer of fabric everywhere. So all the yarns that you don't use on the right side of the work will turn up on the inside, and therefore it will be a slightly thicker cushion. So if I were to drop my phone again, which is certain to happen again, I think, unless by some kind of miracle I will never ever do that again. But yeah, knowing myself, it will probably happen again. So yeah, so I thought I want to use that little bit of extra cushion and make it something color work. So I cast on in one color with a Turkish cast on, which is I think similar to Judy's magic cast on, but it's not the same. I think this one is easier, although it's also more likely that you will drop stitches if you're not very familiar with it. So at first I tried to make one that was 72 stitches in circumference, then I realized it was too wide, so I ripped it out again and I started over. So I've been working on this since yesterday, I think. So today is Friday and yesterday I started working on this. And the fun thing is I can work on this a little bit while I'm at work, because my work currently requires me to do some experiments, and those experiments, they require me to do some, they require me to pay some attention and do some stuff but there's always a break of like 30 to 40 seconds after I set up the experiment, and then before it's finished I just need to wait a little, and then I can put in like 10 stitches maybe, and then put it down again, and once I have all the data I will of course be able to focus a little bit more on work. I think throughout an entire day I hardly get like half an hour knitting time. I don't think I get a half an hour knitting time at work, so that's okay, but I can also knit on it in the train, and that's where the majority of this project has happened. As you can see, it's also on the Chowhu needles that I recently got as a present, which are still greatly appreciated. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. Yeah, I really like making my phone cover this way. So I'll put it back in the bag. Also realized this type of bag kind of works without handles for putting it in my bag, because it's nice that it won't get stuck behind anything. But I think I will need to add a key ring on this little loop, which is put on there for this very reason, and then probably make a handle for it later on. But rather than just keeping it at this, I had cut out enough fabric to make four bags, not all exactly this color, but the next one that I'm going to show you actually is the same colors, but it looks like this, because I thought, at first I tried to install a zipper on this bag as well, so I had used a 30 centimeter or like 12 inch zipper for the other bag, but I soon realized that was probably a little bit too long for the bag, so I took a 10 inch or 25 centimeter zipper for this bag, and I had basically just sewn it up similar to the other one, but then I decided to box these little corners like here around the zipper, and then put in another tab. So on this side I already put in a key ring, just one that I could spare from a bunch of keys that I had lying around. So I have some spare keys from bicycles that got stolen in the past, and I don't know, just some keys from places that I don't use anymore. So I could save one ring. Probably need a slightly larger one, but I think this way I could like put it on either a shorter handle so that it could be like a purse, or even a longer handle so that it could go over my shoulder. I don't have the handles, but I can make them. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this design. I think it needs some like improvements, because this is like not exactly straight. But considering that I wasn't even planning on doing this initially, I think it turned out quite okay. if I were to put anything like this in the store, then of course I'd want to be a little bit more sure that the bag looks nice and neat. But yeah, I think I could use this as a little handbag for myself. So yeah, I think that's all the projects that I have been working on this week. I felt like I had a lot to talk about, but now I realize that I've only been talking for about not even 25 minutes. But yeah, apparently when I get excited, things go fast. Oh, I forgot one little detail about my sock yarn blanket, which I told you about. So let me show it to you again. Here it is, right side. If you look closely at this square, you will see that there's one row in here that looks a little bit tighter than the rest of it. I don't know if you can see it very well, but one row around here looks much tighter than the rest of the blanket. Oh, and on this side it's even like 1.5. Well, it's 1.5 rows or something. I can feel where it is. So yesterday I went to my local knit group again. I hadn't been because last week I was ill, and the week before I went to the wedding of my cousin. But there was a new lady there, and she was very nice. So I enjoyed talking to her a lot. She's not actually Dutch, but she's trying to learn Dutch. So I thought it was very brave of her to continue talking in a foreign language all the time, even though though it's hard to learn Dutch, I think, if you're not used to it. Anyway, she did such an amazing job on that. But she had made a mistake in her knitting. She was knitting something that was also, until that point, just garter stitch. And in one of the first rows of her work, she had somehow messed something up, and some stitches needed to be pulled back up. And she didn't know how to do it, so she was thinking like, can I just leave it there? So I offered to repair those stitches for her. And I was busy working on that, and then at some point she said, I feel a little bit bad that you are working on my project now, and your project is just like standing still. And I offered that she could just knit on my project, and I actually just like and she is a little bit of a tighter knitter than I am. I know that I'm knitting a little bit on the loose side, but she put in this row, so that's why the gauge is so different, because she knit them on my needles. But yeah, they're just a little bit tighter. So this is what a different tension is for different people on the same needles, on the same yarn, in the same project, and then the tension is a little different. And I think some part of me just wants this blanket to be all equal and knit exactly at the same gauge, but on the other hand, I think I'm gonna love this blanket anyway, and it just adds a little bit more fun to the story of this blanket if someone else has also done a few stitches on it. So I really like that. So that makes me really excited about this blanket, and maybe I will start knitting on it soon again, a little bit more than I have done so recently. Part of the reason why I also think of knitting on the blanket a little bit more right now is because it is not so hot anymore in the Netherlands. It's definitely not cold either, but I think we're between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius, which is probably around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't know. At this point I don't really care what the temperature is. I think 30 is 86 Fahrenheit, so that is probably around 80 degrees right now here. But we finally had some rain again since last week on Wednesday. The first drops of rain came down, and ever since it's been raining quite a lot every day. And it's so gorgeous to see all the grass transform back into green, and The whole world just looks lush again, or starting to look a little bit more lush again, and it's such a nice change after seeing everything so brown for such a long time. So yeah, I think I would like to leave it at that, because I don't know what else to talk to you about anymore for this week. But yeah, I will be back with you next week, hopefully with some more projects to share. So yeah, have a lovely week. Thank you so much for joining again, and I hope to see you next week. So